Hello and welcome. Today, we're diving into a skill that honestly can make or break your IELTS score, mastering linking words. We're going to explore how you can take your writing and speaking from pretty good to absolutely fantastic by building the bridges you need for that Band 7 score and way beyond. So, let me ask you something. Think about the last essay you wrote. Were your points clear, but maybe a little isolated? Like they were separate islands just floating in a big sea? If the examiner has to do the mental gymnastics to leap from one of your ideas to the next, you're losing valuable marks right there.
And that's where this crucial concept comes in, cohesion. This isn't just about fancy grammar, okay? It's the art of building strong, sturdy bridges between those idea islands. When you have good cohesion, your argument just flows, guiding the examiner effortlessly from your first point right through to your conclusion.
So why is this such a big deal? Well, you can have the most brilliant ideas in the entire world, but if they're not connected, they just won't get you the score you deserve. Examiners looking for a Band 7 or higher, they are specifically trained to look for a clear, logical progression, not just a random list of sentences. Let's just put ourselves in the examiner's shoes for a second. Imagine you're reading an essay where you constantly have to jump between points, trying to figure out the connection. It's confusing, right? It's tiring, and it screams a lack of advanced language control. And that's a recipe for a much lower score.
But here's the good news. This is completely fixable. I want you to think of yourself as a master builder. Right now, we're about to open up your toolkit and look at the exact tools, these linking words, that are going to construct those essential bridges in your arguments.
All right, first up, sequencing bridges. These are all about ordering your points logically. To begin with is a solid start, for sure. But here's a pro tip. A word like subsequently is a fantastic upgrade from just saying next or then. It just sounds so much more sophisticated, and ultimately, perfect for signaling that powerful final point you're about to make. Next in the toolkit, we have contrast bridges, because a really strong argument always looks at more than one side of the story. However is your classic all-purpose go-to. But if you want to show some real finesse, try nevertheless. It's like saying, yeah, I hear that point, it's valid, but this other thing is actually more important. And by contrast, it's brilliant for directly comparing two different things, especially in writing task 1. Now for the cause and effect bridges. This is where you really get to show the examiner your logical thinking. Words like therefore and consequently are your best friends for connecting an action to its outcome. So instead of just saying pollution is rising, you can say industrial output has increased, consequently pollution levels are rising. See? It shows you understand the direct link between your points.
And finally, we have what might be my favorite category, qualification bridges. These show a really high level of nuance. Instead of a simple yes or no, you can say you agree to some extent. You can contrast a theory with what actually happens in practice. And on balance, what a superb way to start a conclusion after you've weighed up a few different viewpoints. It's so good.
Okay, so we've got the tools, but how do we actually use them? Let's look at some real-world blueprints, specifically for that high-pressure environment of the IELTS speaking test. Just look at the power of a single word here. On the left, you've got a simple, kind of flat answer, but add that one little bridge, because, and suddenly the answer on the right has depth, it has reasoning, it has fluency. This one super simple technique can immediately elevate your response. It's a game changer. Now, for those more complex questions in Part 3, I want you to remember the ACE method. It's easy. ACE. First, answer the question directly. Don't waste time, just get to the point. Then, add context. Elaborate on your answer, maybe using a word like specifically. And finally, provide an example, using a bridge like for instance. If you follow this structure, your answer will always be comprehensive and, most importantly, super cohesive. Okay, so let's talk about leveling up, about moving from just functional bridges to truly flawless ones. This is the real secret to hitting those top bands. It's the art of what I like to call invisible engineering.
So here is a really common trap that can stop you from getting past Band 6. It's so easy to fall into this one. A lot of people learn a list of linking words and then just use them mechanically. Firstly, secondly, thirdly. It just sounds unnatural and forced, and that is not what we're aiming for.
This quote really gets to the heart of it. The goal isn't to show off every single linking word you know. The real goal is mastery. At the highest levels, the connections between your ideas are so smooth, so natural, that the linking words themselves almost disappear. The argument just flows. So let's bring this all together. Remember those lonely islands we started with? Well, once you master these tools, you're not leaving your ideas stranded anymore. You're creating a fully connected, easily navigable archipelago of thought. So here it is, your checklist for that Band 7 score and higher. Just ask yourself, am I sequencing my ideas? Am I showing contrast? Am I explaining cause and effect? And above all, am I aiming for that natural, seamless flow instead of just repeating words mechanically? So I'll leave you with this question to really think about. After everything we've talked about today, think about your own writing and speaking. On balance, which one of these bridges, sequencing, contrast, or maybe qualification, is going to make the biggest difference in strengthening your very next argument?